Okay, it's recording. Good morning, everybody. Wave,
Morning, Greg.
wave. How
Morning.
you doing? Oh, and Cindy brought her puppy today too. I saw him walk by, but I haven't petted him yet. So, before the day's out, puppy petting going on. Um, I want to start out by saying this is nothing really in depth. This is more about a few things we've done, a few things you can do, a few things that you're going to plan for next year, and where to get some information you need this year. So don't think this is, I'm not pretending to be an accountant here. I'm trying to say if you're not doing some things, you might want to think about it. So not everybody's got their picture up. How many people out there, if you can either type in the chat box or not, already have some sort of accounting software they use to monitor their expenditures and stuff?
Um,
Come on, somebody's got to have accounting software. Shane's got QuickBooks, very good.
you're just talking QuickBooks?
I'm talking whatever you use to enter your expenses, enter your checks with, something along whatever software you use.
Well,
So,
I do have QuickBooks, and then my accountant, she sends me a form to fill out for my taxes. Is
Gotcha.
that
Okay.
okay?
My receipts, great. So Sandra's got the shoebox method. I love it. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm really not. I just was asking who's got something. Uh, Shane likes the QuickBook app. We moved to QuickBooks Online this year as a company, and there are several things it does really well. At the same time, I understand not everybody wants to pay for QuickBooks or have all the push pull and all that. So I'm just kind of seeing if you've got something.
No,
I
Greg, I have QuickBooks, but I've never really utilized it correctly.
Okay.
So one of the things I'm kind of jazzed about, this does tie in with QuickBooks, right? And you're into it.
Not the way you're thinking.
Oh,
But we may want to talk about some QuickBook things in the future. Our
okay.
software attaches to our QuickBooks account. It's not going to connect to yours. So we
Well,
may have a
when I signed in this morning, it said I already had an account, and so I had to go into my.
that's for your 1099.
Oh, okay.
That's
Sorry.
that's not for everything else we do in here.
Okay.
And I'm not going to push everybody to say go out and get something. Sandra's got a shoebox. I respect that, and I use shoebox lightly. Please don't take it that way. It's just I'm using that as slang. Does everyone have a separate bank account, a separate credit card, something that they can use? Okay. So number one, if it were me starting at the beginning of this year, I would highly, highly recommend you get some sort of software. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to share my screen. We started using this year QuickBooks Online. And I'm not going to make you guys go out and get QuickBooks Online. That's just not what I'm here for. I would strongly suggest you have some sort of software that you use because um, you're going to do things that you don't realize you've done, or you're going to pay an accountant to do data entry that you can do relatively easy. We went to QuickBooks Online because it integrates with our current back end system, but it also pulls information from our bank account, pulls information from our credit cards, and as it's doing that, it then recognizes, I just paid, I don't know, let's say brokerage engine X number of dollars, and it puts that into computer software for me. So as you start entering things, it remembers it and categorizes it for you. For me, it was worthwhile because of all the things we do as a company. For you, if you're doing lesser of that, as far as I know, a checkbook could do, or a shoebox, or so on. But I do kind of like using the credit card method because if I pay something, instead of having a box of receipts, I've got the credit card statement that then categorizes everything where you need it to be. So I went in to look for you guys what I thought would be a couple of good software you might want to look into if you're not already using one. I have been going a lot to PC Magazine to look for product comparison and reviews. So the next, 5 minutes is on different softwares if you want them. I like PC Magazine because they're not affiliated with anybody else. They're a little bit more straightforward and it's computer friendly. You can see stuff that it's online and stuff that's offline. You can buy software or you can rent it. It tells you how much it costs and then gives you a side-by-side comparison. So one thing I would recommend if you're going to look for new software, PC Magazine, best personal finance software is what I Googled. Okay. But then I wanted to find something that was specific for real estate. And again, when I Google real estate accounting softwares, I look for Google sites that aren't selling software, are reviewing it, are more independent. And this is called Fit Small Business. And this came up with several of them, like Cindy has, QuickBooks Online, RealtyZam, QuickBooks Desktop. And the reason desktop might be a really great choice if you don't want to rent the software, if you don't want to pay them or host it on their servers, then you can buy the software and keep it on yours. I did look at RealtyZam just briefly, and I was kind of impressed with some of the features that they have, the way it integrates and put things into different categories, that it pulls data from a lot of different banks if you want to, and that it prepares these nice little reports that your accountant would really like. So Sandra, ditch the shoebox, which, by the way, this is where I got that term. I wasn't making it up or belittling you. I just got that. And it does things like you can take pictures of receipts and load them in. But it was also recommended by Inman, Realtor Magazine, Breakthrough Broker, some brokerages as well. And they have a lot of things going on that seems relatively easy. Plus, I believe they have a free trial.
That's on RealtyZam.
It's called RealtyZam, RealtyZam. If nothing else, with the 30-day trial, you could say, I hate it, I don't like it. You don't have to put a credit card in. And then it's $9 a month, which seems relatively reasonable to me. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. The next thing I want to talk to you about then would be, how are you guys tracking your mileage? Let me rephrase that. Is anybody tracking their mileage?
Not anymore. I've gotten bad and slipped.
And we all do. And that's problematic with our industry, is we are all emotional people. Let me rephrase that. Statistically, 70% of real estate agents are emotional decision makers. So we're rushing off to the next appointment. We're rushing off to this. We're trying to take care of our clients for that. And we say, oh, I'll get to logging that mileage tomorrow or the day after or whatever. So as a company several years ago, 3 maybe, we found a program called Everlance. And it was a real love-hate relationship. Some people love it and use it all the time. Some people never do. I'm only telling you about this one because if you want to sign it, normally we renew at April. If you want to sign up now, I'll put you in, we'll figure it out. It's $40 a year is what I charge you because I pay as a company to get you a discount. I don't care if you use this one or something else. There are free ones that you can use with your phone. This one uses your GPS on your phone, and you can push a button when you're starting a trip. You push a button when you leave. And I'm going to log into somebody's account here real quick So let me use Miranda's. Sorry, Miranda, if I'm abusing you. This then says Miranda took a trip on Friday, January 15th. She went from here to here. It was 13 miles, and it's $7 she gets to deduct. And at the end of the year, she prints out a report that has all of her trips on them and what the amount is she gets to deduct based on whatever the government's thing is, her mileage, real expenses. I don't know. If you want to use it, great. But please, please, you can get a lot of money off your taxes. Another thing it has built into it, if you don't want to get accounting software, Sandra, you can put your expenses in here. So you could log in and just say, I spent X number of dollars on cards. I spent X number of dollars on this, and it would load them all in without you carrying the shoebox. I won't swear to it. You may be able to take pictures and all that. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with, if you don't want to do a full accounting software, but you want to put your expenses in here, it might be a way to get a report out for you. This is $40 a year for anybody in the company.
And that's basically the mileage, but you're saying you can do mileage plus keep a record of your expenses.
Correct.
Okay.
Now I
Can I
have
get a
this.
feedback from somebody that's used it that's here on the list? I know that.
Lance uses it. I know.
Okay.
Sherry Proctor uses it, and she actually uses it with two companies, her Bright whatever and her other one. So I know you can split it between the two. I know Brenda signed up early on and renewed after the first year. I don't know how she's doing now. So those would probably be the three that I would say talk to see if it's working for them or not. There are other programs that work similar. All of them seem to have their little quirks and whatnot. I found this 2 years ago, and after doing reviews and testing it, it seemed to work about as good as anything else we tried. So that was the reason it's still there. If you want to do Everlance, please send me an email and I'll send you an invite, and you'll have it for free until April. How's that? Because that's when we renew. Okay? How am I doing so far, gang? Sandra, I use Everlance for my
Can I ask
mileage.
a question about that Everlance?
Yeah,
Did
Sandra
you
put
say
in the
that you
comments.
did
Just
not?
a second, Cindy.
Oh,
Sandra put in the comments, she used Everlance for my mileage, but have not looked into documenting expenses. Please renew me. So there you go. What's your question?
when you do that Everlance, now I'm off track. I'm totally off track. I apologize.
Okay. Well, we'll come
What
back.
I like
Oh,
the-
I apologize. I know what it is now. Greg, did you say that there was a report that sent off that we can give our accountant that is like the Realty Exam?
There is that in RealtyZam. There's also that in Everlance. And one of the things that Everlance is proud and tells people is they have IRS compliant records. So what you do in there, the IRS accepts as gospel.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like that's the one we really should get aboard if there's going to be a trial period and see what's what.
Well, I'm just throwing out, but Everlance is mileage only, and you can put expenses in there, but you can't put your bank account and all the other things. Okay.
Yeah.
The RealtyZam would be more of a full accounting.
Mhm.
So take a look at either one, let me know. So the last thing, or the last two things I wanted to talk about were, yesterday, we finished up the 1099s, and our company moved to QuickBooks Online 12 months ago when we went with our new program, because they integrate and talk to each other and whatnot. So the 1099s I completed yesterday. I knew they were going to email them out. I didn't know how quickly. Apparently some people or all of you received your emails yesterday. However, the system I chose was email and snail mail. So you will get a printed copy of your 1099 in the mail as well. If you don't want to sign into QuickBooks and all that, I get it. If you want to, go for it. It's up to you. We try to deliver them in whatever method you think is best for you. So the 1099s are done and they are out. What I expect you guys to want to know next is, well, how much money did I pay to the company over the last year? So I thought we'd take a quick look at that so you know how to find it. I'm using Dixie Ball's account. Thank you, Dixie, for letting me in there. This is your brokerage engine. Inside brokerage engine, you have a tab called invoices. When you click on invoices, for the last year, everything we've collected from you as a company has gone into invoices. Whether it's your magazine, your dues, photos, 360 tour, anything like that, even your referrals, we've come through this kind of program. So to get your expenses out versus your 1099s, which you've already got, you come down here and you pick download to CSV. That's going to put them in an Excel file for you. And I'm going to save that in, Excel file on my desktop. And then after it downloads, I can go to my desktop and open it, or I can click down here at the little box and it'll open it from here. So when I open it, and it's on the other screen, I'll have to move it over. This is what pops up. Now, for Dixie or you can see that some of these have number signs in them, and it's basically because they've got more numbers or dates or whatever than will show up. And I just grab the little top up here and move it over so that I can see what it is. You guys see how I'm doing that? And then I look at all the dates that were paid. Well, I have one that was actually paid in, well, actually, she hadn't paid it yet. So I just want to take this one and erase it. I'm sorry, and erase it. So these are all the ones that are already paid. There's no balance due. These are the invoice amounts, and she's paid them all. So you can either send this sheet directly over to your accountant if they want to know what the items are. If the accountant says, I just want to know how much, then you can total this column. And down here, there's a couple of ways you can do it. I get to the bottom of the column that I want to total on, and I push the sum button, which is this little button right here. And when I push it, it's going to automatically check those things up above it, so I don't have to go through it all. And I just put enter, and total she paid to us from check or deducted from her paychecks or anything is $1,358.42. Everybody understand how I got that? Okay. So, to kind of go back and recover. This is the beginning of a new tax year. You're getting your 1099s, and I've shown you how to get your expenses out of here. If you don't already have some sort of accounting software, strongly recommend you get something to track your expenses, be it the Everlance, which you can put all your receipts in, or a shoebox and Everlance to track your mileage, or accounting software, if you want to get a little fancier, that will pull in your bank accounts and your credit cards and help you categorize all your purchases. But keeping them separate and having a way to track them all is going to make your taxes at the end of the year a whole lot easier. Okay? Any questions or discussion now?
I do. I have a question about the mileage one on Everlance.
Okay.
In the past, my accountant pretty much it gives me the choice. I can do mileage, or I believe the other was some kind of a a group deduction on my vehicle. I'm not for sure what it is, you know.
My
sometimes-
understanding is, and I'm not an accountant, but you can do true mileage or actual expenses.
Okay, and so which would this category under, because you're showing dollar value?
Well, yes, but it's not just dollars. When I'm in Everlance, I'm going to have to log back in. Give me just a second.
Cindy, my accountant has always encouraged me that I'm gonna get the bigger tax deduction by actually doing mileage versus the because your actuals would be like your gas. And then, you know, any like maintenance expenses on your car type thing, but she's all, because I just bought the new, you know, I just bought my new car, but she still is telling me that doing the mileage is probably gonna be the best deduction for me anyway.
Okay, so that's, and you jumped aboard back on this, didn't you, Sandra?
What's that?
You're gonna renew yours? You have?
Yeah. What
Okay.
what I like about Everlance is, you know, it's set up so it knows when my phone is moving, and so it tracks a trip whether I'm in the car, you know, doing personal or work. And I get kind of lax when I'm tired. I don't get home and I don't necessarily swipe it to the work. But the other morning I sat in bed with my coffee and I literally got on and just went through all my trips and just swiped, you know, whether it was work or whether it was personal. And I just did like 2 weeks worth. And just by knowing the addresses, I knew if it was a showing or if I was going on a business trip or if it was, you know, to Dylan's. If I know it's just something here local, that's a mile, I know it's probably just a personal errand. But then you can do it when you have time.
Yeah.
And let me cover what Cindy's talking about, these dollars. These are representative figures based on what the normal mileage is and if the IRS updated. Your accountant will give you your exact dollars. But what it's counting here is all of the area where you drove and how far it was. And these mileage is what your accountant is going to use to make your calculation on. This $17 is an approximate based on what normal deduction is, how you do it, and so on. And so regardless of whether you use this program or another one to track your mileage, you've got to log all your trips and categorize them, whether they're personal or business. This uses your phone's GPS and lets you push a button that says, I'm doing a work trip, I'm doing this trip, and I'm doing that. As Sandra says, if you forget to push one button or another, you can always go back in and recategorize it. Was this a work trip? Was this not a work trip? And you get a login and it works with your phone and all kinds of other things. And I'm using somebody else's account here, so I don't want to get too carried away in being in it. But this mileage is what it tracks. This dollar figure is an approximate, and your accountant gets all of these. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I would strongly suggest everybody get your accounting practices right now at the beginning of the year, because it makes it a lot easier to do than it does going backwards and trying to fix it up 3 months from now. Okay. Any other comments? You guys are a quiet bunch. Thank you so much. Tulio, say something.
I'm okay.
Say something.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I'm going to quit